Hello again. For those of you that have already watched, and I know some of you had because you've kindly emailed me to say, I read the first chapter of The Worst Witch last week, which is also on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen that one, it'd be a good idea to watch that one first, because today I'm reading the second chapter. So in the first chapter, we met Mildred Hubble and we found out a bit about her, and we found out that she had just joined Miss Cackle's Academy for Witches, and that she was going to be getting a kitten the next day as part of settling into the academy. So today we're going to find out what happens with that. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, Chapter 2. The presentation took place in a great hall, a huge stone room with rows of wooden benches, a raised platform at one end, and shields and portraits all round the walls. The whole school had assembled, and Miss Cackle and Miss Hardbrim stood behind a table on the platform. On the table was a large wicker basket from which came mews and squeaks. First of all, everyone sang the school song, which went like this: "Onward, ever striving onward, proudly on our brooms we fly, straight and true above the treetops, shadows on the moonlit sky. Ne'er a day will pass before us when we have not tried our best, kept our cauldrons bubbling nicely, cast our spells and charms with zest. Full of joy we mix our potions, working by each other's side. When our days at school are over, let us think of them with pride." It was a usual type of school song, full of pride and joy and striving. Mildred had never yet mixed a potion with joy, nor flown her broomstick with pride. She was usually too busy trying to stay upright. Anyway, when they had finished droning the last verse, Miss Cackle rang the little silver bell on her table, and the girls marched up in single file to receive their kittens. Picture there. Mildred was the last of all, and when she reached the table, Miss Cackle pulled out of the basket not a sleek black kitten like all the others, but a little tabby with white paws and a sort of fur that looked like it'd been out in a gale all night. "We ran out of black ones," explained Miss Cackle with a pleasant grin. Miss Hardbrim smiled too, but nastily. After the ceremony, everyone rushed to see Mildred's kitten. "I think HB had a hand in this somehow," said Maud darkly. HB was their nickname for Miss Hardbrim. "I must admit, it does look a little bit dim, doesn't it?" said Mildred, scratching the tabby kitten's head. "But I don't really mind. I'll just have to think of another name. I was going to call it Sooty. Let's take them down to the playground and see what they make of their first broomstick riding." Almost all the first-year witches were in the yard trying to persuade their puzzled kittens to sit on their broomsticks. Several were already clinging on by their claws, and one kitten, belonging to a rather smug young witch named Ethel, was sitting bolt upright, cleaning its paws as if it had been riding a broomstick all its life. Riding a broomstick was no easy matter, as I mentioned before. First, you ordered the stick to hover, and it hovered lengthways above the ground. Then you sat on it, gave it a sharp tap, and away you flew. Once in the air, you could make the stick do almost anything by saying right, left, stop, down a bit, and so on. The difficult part was balancing, for if you leaned a little too far to one side, you could easily overbalance, in which case you would either fall off or find yourself hanging upside down, and then you would just have to hold on with your skirt over your head until your friend came to your rescue. It had taken Mildred several weeks of falling off and crashing before she could ride the broomstick reasonably well, and it looked as though her kitten was going to have the same trouble. When she put it on the end of the stick, it just fell off without even trying to hold on. After many attempts, Mildred picked up her kitten and gave it a shake. "Listen," she said severely, "I think I shall have to call you stupid. You don't even try to hold on. Everyone else is all right. Look at all your friends." The kitten gazed at her sadly and licked her nose with its rough tongue. "Oh, come on," said Mildred, softening her voice a little. "I'm not really angry with you. Let's try again." And she put the kitten back on her broomstick, from which it fell with a thud. Maud was having better luck. Her kitten was hanging on grimly upside down. Here it is here, look. "Oh well," laughed Maud, "it's a start." "Mine's useless," said Mildred, sitting on her broomstick for a rest. "Never mind," Maud said. "Think how hard it must be for them to hang on by their claws." An idea flashed into Mildred's head, and she dived into the school, leaving her kitten chasing a leaf along the ground and the broomstick still patiently hovering. She came out carrying her satchel, which she hooked over the end of the broom, and then bundled the kitten into it. The kitten's astounded face peeped out of the bag as Mildred flew delightedly round the yard. "Look, Maud," she called from 10 feet up in the air. "That's cheating," said Maud, looking at the satchel. Mildred flew back and landed on the ground laughing. "I don't think HB will approve," said Maud doubtfully. "Quite right, Maud," an icy voice behind them said. "Mildred, my dear, possibly it would be even easier with handlebars and a saddle." Mildred blushed. "I'm sorry, Miss Hardbroom," she muttered. "It doesn't balance very well, my kitten, so I thought perhaps—" Her voice trailed away under Miss Hardbroom's stony glare, and Mildred unhooked her satchel and turned the bewildered kitten onto the ground. "Girls," Miss Hardbroom clapped her hands, "I would remind you that there is a potion test tomorrow morning. That is all." So saying, she disappeared, literally. "I wish she wouldn't do that," whispered Maud, looking at the place where their form mistress had been standing. "You're never quite sure whether she's actually gone or not." "Right. Again, Maud," came Miss Hardbroom's voice from out of nowhere. Maud gulped and hurried back to her kitten. Okay, so that's the second chapter of The Worst Witch. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to record the next chapter for next week. I might try and record a couple of chapters for those of you that are following the story, so that you can get through the book a little bit more quickly. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. See you later. Bye.